issues that we were trying to address immediately. And then we also had Department of Justice that was following not far behind.
Wow.
Oh, and in between all that, the governor had announced he was closing Bellefontaine as well.
DMH Way presents. Chat GCG, a DMH Way podcast. Welcome to Chat GCG, genuine conversations on growth, contributions, and goals. At Chat GCG, our goal is to expose you to the authentically intelligent heroes of DMH employment. My name is Daishan Knox, Supervisory Specialist with the DMH Way.
I'm Ron Cowan. I'm a DMH Way facilitator.
All right. And we are back with episode 3. And today we will be interviewing my most recent supervisor, Rebecca Post, Superintendent of Bellefontaine Rehabilitation Center. How you doing today, Becky?
I am doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Good. We're so glad to have you today. And so before we dive into the thick of the deep questions, we want to get you warmed up. So we're going to start with what I like to call the chit chat.
Okay.
And so these are a couple softball questions just to kind of get the juices flowing. Questions that, help us set your baseline, things you should know. We can test to make sure that you're coherent. So those questions are: where do you work? What do you do? How long have you been with DMH? And what would you say is a guilty pleasure beverage that you've been enjoying? Something that's HR appropriate.
Okay. All right. I can do that.
Okay.
I work at Bellefontaine Rehabilitation Center.
Mm-hmm.
I currently am the superintendent, but have had many roles here.
Yeah.
And it's been 33 and a half years,
Wow.
give or take, and probably add more on because I did my internship here.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say a guilty pleasure for drink is an Arnold Palmer.
Okay. So that's the half lemonade
and
half tea.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got corrected because I asked for a half lemonade and a half tea at a restaurant. They told me, no, it's an Arnold Palmer. I said, I knew it was an Arnold Palmer, but I didn't want to.
You didn't want to assume.
I didn't want to assume.
Yeah,
so I said,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, who makes the best Arnold Palmer you've had?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, probably McAllister's.
Ooh, we're gonna talk about McAllister's a little bit later.
All right.
Good. And to backtrack even more, you mentioned you had a couple different positions here.
Correct.
What different roles have you served in since you've been in Bellefontaine?
I started out as a QMRP or a service coordinator, which is now the support care professional.
Mm-hmm.
I was a unit program supervisor, which is now a treatment supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
I did the unit manager role.
Yeah.
There was kind of an in-between part. I don't know how they were titling it at the time. And then I moved into the assistant superintendent role,
Mm-hmm.
and then to the superintendent.
Nice.
Yes.
Good deal. So you've covered a wide spectrum.
Yes.
Good.
Very much so.
That's awesome. So we got you a little warmed up. So I'm going to pass it off to Rod as we transition into our GCG questions. So Rod, take it away.
Okay. So this is a deep question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So what would you say has been the biggest point of growth in your career with DMH?
I would say that it was when I became the assistant superintendent here. It was around 2004. I had come back from maternity leave with my youngest, and Bellefontaine there was a lot of chaos going on because a variety of issues had happened while I was out.
Okay.
And when I came back, the superintendent had left. There were roles that were just vacated, and it was a very tumultuous time.
Right.
And asking to go into that role, I knew Unit 1 and Unit 5. We had 5 units on campus at one point, and I knew 1 and 5, not all 5. So I had to learn all 5 rather quickly with a lot of people. So it was a real like, wow. And I didn't, you knew that part of your own world when you did, Unit 5. I knew it. It was always exciting. We dealt with forensic individuals. We had a lot of folks that would probably very similar to what we're dealing with in crisis now, but they actually were the regular, they were our consumers at that time. And so I knew that, but not, the rest of it. And you knew that portion, and it was a big learning curve to know
Yeah.
how much I didn't know.
Yeah.
And 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 there was nobody really here to tell you that what to do or what you were supposed to be doing or what you needed to oversee. It was a lot of baptism by fire,
Oh, wow.
for a lack of a better, yeah.
And you've been very successful in it. So, kind of a follow up, and I'm going to go
Mhm.
off script here,
Yeah,
guys.
Sure.
Sean, I hope
absolutely.
that's okay. How did you contribute to your success then? What did you do to get up to speed on everything?
I would say that I'm a very social person. I actually am more social here than I am other places. I think
Yeah.
once I leave, I kind of shut down because I give everything here. But I like people, so I spent a lot of time getting to know people, what they did, asking a lot of questions, trying to figure out just the ins and outs of what they did. And I think that that helped, along with I am detail oriented,
Okay.
so that it is a blessing and a curse because that I like it to be a certain way, but not everybody likes it to be that certain way. So
Yeah.
so sometimes that's difficult to mesh. But at this time, the detail was becoming even more important because we had issues that we were trying to address immediately, and then we also had Department of Justice that was following not far behind.
Wow.
Oh, and in between all that, the governor had announced he was closing Belfenton as well.
That's a lot.
It was,
I mean,
yeah,
that's a
just,
lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was very interesting. So,
But you navigated it,
yes,
and here you are.
yes, yeah, this is true. I did survive.
You did
Yeah.
survive. That's huge.
We're still standing.
Yeah. So, thinking about switching a little bit to, we're doing skill of the month and talking about DMH way and skill of the month. How has the DMH way and maybe even skill of the month supported you in your growth?
I would say that it has helped me to reevaluate how I communicate with other people, and also
Okay.
to help me to enhance how I communicate with
Mm,
others. It's really made me pay attention to not everybody does it the same way, so there's times I know with certain people that I need to be, I need to flex to a certain
Right.
style, or just to be more patient about it. I also think that it has made me allow me to reflect more on how I do things and why I do those things. So I've really enjoyed just kind of the reflection part, and also being able to use some of the skills come a lot easier for me. Deshaun will tell you, we talk about that often, come easier for me than others do. But I want to strive for it to be better, and I want to be better because I believe that that can help others to be better.
So then that's a great great segue into the next question
Okay.
that I kind of was thinking about. So thinking about your current role,
Yes.
right? So what's the next area you're looking to see immediate growth in within your current role?
So immediately is succession planning. So
mm.
looking for
Okay.
the bigger picture. We've been kind of looking at succession planning. We've been making plans within the departments. We did several years ago. It might have been pre-COVID, but we did our
Mhm.
list over like what role, like if my role, I made out a whole list of the things that I do.
Uh-huh.
And then you would take like, the DON, and she has a whole list. So if
Right.
somebody came in off the street, they could hopefully look at some of those lists and be able to, use them. And um, they weren't coming in blind,
Yeah.
so because you don't always have somebody to train you, to walk you through every piece. So I was hopeful. So we started with that piece. We've been trying to work on just making sure that we're at least attempting to cross train more.
That's
And
real
then
cool.
also trying to look towards the future. Who is anyone interested in these roles, and trying to plan for when I'm not here.
Yeah, but you're going to be here a while.
My plan.
I threw that out
You're
there.
digging deep, bro.
Yeah,
I know,
you're
I
getting
put you
real
on the
there. Yeah,
spot.
that is that's on the backside here. Looking to retire probably within the year.
Wow.
Okay. I
That's,
know.
that's heavy.
It's extremely, and
Yeah.
it's really, it makes you ponder quite a bit because there's so much you want to be. I've spent so much time here. This is home. It is my second home.
Mhm.
And you want it to be right and you want it to be good for everybody. So I want it to not only be good for the consumers, but all the staff, they deserve that.
Yeah, it's home.
Yeah.
You've spent this time here in these different jobs and giving of yourself so much that, I mean, you're talking legacy.
Yeah.
And
No,
you want to leave something for the
Right. I
next
don't want to talk exactly. And I'm struggling with that because
Yeah.
there's parts of me that, it's because it's not an easy task. Not that anybody can't do it.
Right.
It's just not an easy task. And I think there's a lot of people that don't want to do it,
Mm.
so I think that you kind of can see all sides of that, but it's very rewarding. I mean, there's a lot of, I wouldn't be doing this for as long as I have.
Right.
So
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
awesome.
That's huge. That's
Yes.
huge. Well, I'm gonna talk to you about contributions that you've made, and I primed our questions because I really wanted to kind of lay out a spread before I
Okay.
ask you the questions. So you and I have been on the same campus for about 10 years,
Yes.
basically almost the entirety of my DMH career. And you were my supervisor for about 7 of those years of the 10 years that I've been with DMH. So I've seen things about you, and if I can share with you contributions I've seen, according to Bill Hoovelman, you have the record for being the longest standing superintendent at Bell Rehabilitation Center. And that's how many years?
Over 16.
Over 16. That's
That-
amazing.
According to him.
According to
I'm
him.
like, I'm not too. Yes, it'll be 17 in May.
Wow. And he's a resident historian,
Yes,
so
he
I
is.
trust him.
I do. He knows a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Not only that, but did you come to Bellefonte as an intern?
I did.
Okay. I remember him sharing that with
Okay.
me. It might have been on the interview that he did with you. So you've been here prior to graduating from college.
Correct.
Not only that, I know you have admitted, I don't know if it was back when we were doing gauges, but that you keep a notebook on your nightstand. So you eat, sleep, and breathe Bell Fountain. You wake up in the middle of the night and will jot down ideas.
Yes.
Um,
I advanced to the notebook. It used to be on toilet paper and paper towels. Anything I could get my hands on as
Anything.
I'm standing in the bathroom or in the kitchen,
Yeah.
I'd walk out and I'm like, yeah, I finally got
Okay.
some notebooks.
There we go.
Marcy's given me some notebooks.
There we go.
So-
Good. And I kind of gave you a heads up on this, but one that I just recalled as I was thinking about it. When we have those inclement weather moments, you put up a cot in your office
I have a cot.
and you will stay here
Yes.
knowing that you might get snowed in, knowing that you might get iced in. And then not only that, and here's the superpower, the Becky Post superpower, you have bionic bandwidth. I'm going to coin that phrase because you just have this way, Becky, of I don't understand how you can remember so many things all at once about so many departments, but you have this way that I'm like, your brain was made prior to cell phones because I remember nothing. Like if my cell phone doesn't tell me I have this appointment at this time, I'm not there. It didn't happen. There was no appointment. So those are the contributions I have seen with you
Well, thank
from
you.
your perspective.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So from your perspective, what would you say would be your proudest contribution?
I would say that for me, it's kind of a twofold. So I think that it's not only my tenure,
Mm-hmm.
because that created consistency and allowed me opportunity to make connections, but I also believe is making those connections. I am a people person. I
Mhm.
tend to remember people's names. I make it a point to remember people's names. And it has it has served me well. I believe that it is it's important to know people. I think the connecting, I guess,
Mhm.
is probably what between the tenure and those connections really, I think, is my biggest contributions.
Yeah. Yeah. Continuity is huge.
Extremely. I
Yeah.
mean, it does help. I can't, we probably all could say that because you end up having, as soon as something or you can't get to something or it's not the same, then you got to come up with something different and that's fine,
Mhm.
but it just takes time and it adds on to
Yeah.
extra things other steps that you have to do. So if you do have the continuity, it does help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, because I know when, whether it's a regime change or when someone transitions out, there's that power vacuum where people are vying for, now I want to be the top dog, or even just not knowing where to turn.
Right.
Like, all of those things can be the result of not having that continuity. So thank you for
Yes.
being dedicated, being
Yeah. Well, thank
consistent
you.
with Bell Fountain.
So let's talk about goals,
Okay.
because just from us talking, you are a goal oriented person, right?
True.
So we're going to ask maybe one easy, and if you're brave,
Okay.
we're going to get a little bit deeper.
Okay, great.
So the first is, what is one professional goal you have for 2025?
Okay.
And here's the brave. What personal goal do you have for 2025?
Okay. All right. So professional, I want to leave. I would like BHC to be in as good of position as possible when I go. I'd like, you like to leave it better than
Right.
you get it.
Exactly.
That is my goal. I would like for things to be as good as possible. So striving for that. And my personal goal is retirement. But seeing what that looks like, because I don't plan to not do anything. I do want to continue to work, I think, in some capacity. And I'm still trying to figure that piece out. It's
Yeah.
kind of, I really like data entry.
Okay.
I really would like something that is, less 24/7, unless I won't worry. I just take it all on. And I think trying to do something different would be a good thing for me.
Hey folks, Daishan here. We experienced some technical difficulties on this episode, so instead of giving you a bunch of quantity that had some stuff you just didn't want to see here, we decided to cut it short. So we had a great time with Becky Post, and hopefully you got a lot of nuggets out of it. And if you need a little bit more, you can check out her Skill of the Month story on this YouTube page. So check it out, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks a lot.
Chat GCG, a DMH Way podcast. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Scan the QR code for the DMH Way website.